whether this job pans out or not, but.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to spend their money there. Yeah.
Long and cold. Massive.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go next week, see what they send down in Texas.
That's Matt.
Yeah. See how that's going for 'em.
Every day.
What part of Texas?
They're just west of Fort Worth. It's a little town there called Aledo.
Never heard.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
What are you hearing? Law enforcement retired at the Ray Park. Corey Huffine from our office. And
Carve out an hour.
How you doing?
I guess.
I did.
It's been hot.
Yep.
Hey, John.
Doing well.
Business, always good.
Really important balance.
I didn't say fun. I just said there's probably work to do.
We are. Rachel's there. Rachel, are you with us?
Not as much fun as we have.
Yeah, that's Rachel's future.
Hello, chief. Yeah. I think what you on there, I think my name tag spelled it correctly.
Hey, Rachel,
Yes, sir.
can you hear us?
I can.
All right, we've got a healthy crowd and ready to go, Sharon?
Yeah, it's, I think it's at least 10 o'clock. Go ahead and get started. Meeting. So, 10 o'clock, so we're call to order. We do have a forum and Jim Kelly, I don't see Ralph Ferrer, you're gonna be the substitute for Ralph.
Okay, well, John, you can check the box then.
You got it, sir.
Okay. Jim Kelly will be filling in for Ralph Ferrer. Otherwise, I think the other folks at the table are voting members. So we'll go ahead and the agenda's been presented by Rachel, sent it out the other day. Are there any questions or amendments to the agenda that need to be made? Okay, hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Don't move.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Can we get names?
You good if you could state your names on motions and seconds, please?
Jim Kelly moved and Kurt Saha seconded. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next item we have are the minutes from the last meeting of August 17th. Those have been were sent out. Are there any corrections that need to be made from those minutes?
I move to approve. This is Dara.
I'll second that. That's Alan.
Okay, and one motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, not opposed. That motion carries. No, looks like Ruth Kendall has joined us online there. So hi, Ruth. Good to see you.
Hi.
All righty. Next up would be public comment. And I see, I don't know if there's anybody in the building who wants to make comments. Nobody in the building. Is everybody online, Rachel?
There's not.
Okay, well, we will move on to number 5, payables. So go ahead and Rachel, do you want to talk to us about that?
Unless you guys have any questions, it's pretty standard to the normal payables.
I had one question, Rachel. Maybe if you could just explain, there is a claim on here to Old Hickory Sheds for about $8,900. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, we purchased a shed for the facility manager position that we hired. And that was a shed that he needed for like his tools and stuff to be put in at the new center.
Okay.
Shed on the property.
Yep, very good. Well, with that, I make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second, it's Alan.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Financial report for August 2022. I don't know if there's any questions for staff on that, or if Rachel had anything to say about those.
I only have a couple comments. We're looking really good for revenues overall. And if you notice in the expenditures for our ops fund, we have quite a few that are overspent. Most of those categories are travel expenses. But overall, we're really good on expenditure. We have about 65% left to spend. And by this time in the year, we should only have about 34%. So we're looking really good there. I did want to mention that we do have the state auditor here. Well, not on site, but they are in contact with me. So that category will be spent this year. We weren't sure, but they reached out this month. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions of Rachel? Okay, it says that we don't need to take any action on that. So at this point, we're up to the board comments. Law Tac is Troy Brightmill. I can't see from where I'm sitting. Is he on, Rachel?
Troy is on.
Okay, there he is. I see him waving now. Troy, if you want to go ahead and give us a Law Tac report.
Excuse me. The Law Tac met on August 31st. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse today. We discussed a couple topics. We reviewed our BOLO Be on the Lookout protocol that seems to be working pretty well across the agencies. We reviewed the previously established protocol for radar trailer events. We've still got one agency that we've got to get on board with that. And then we discussed an issue we're having with reopening calls. We had separate systems in the past, so it didn't really cause any issues, but now with it linked, if we reopen the call, it changes some of the data of the call. The way that pretty much every other Spillman agency does this is to use what's called a follow-up event. And we're trying to iron out some issues with that. It comes down to some training and just establishing some protocols. And we've been working with John and Tom Stoddard on that. And we should meet next sometime in late October.
Okay, thanks, Troy. Next up would be Fire Tac. Is there any report from fire side?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's online. This isn't exactly Fire Tac, but it's the Cowlitz County EMS Council and Trauma Care Council. We have been looking into Pulse Point, which is a really fantastic software program that allows all first responders and all certified CPR providers to get notification on their phone of anybody's in cardiac arrest within a certain distance of them. And it also it informs them where DFibs are. And I know Eric Reese with Longview Fire has a vast amount of information in regards to what this can do and the benefits of it for the county. So the EMS Council, Trauma Care Council was looking at paying for the initial startup fees, because it's not an inexpensive program by any means. And that was about $10,000. And then we would like to bring it to the 911 Public Authority to consider the annual fees are $8,000 for Pulse Point. And I would ask that we could put on the agenda for the next meeting the consideration of providing Pulse Point for all the first responders in the county.
It doesn't need to have a presentation for us.
Yeah. Eric Reese will have a good presentation.
Okay. Anything else from the fire?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Jim, Bill, anything? All right.
No, I
Could I-
ran the dentist appointment. I don't know if he relayed anything, anybody else or not. I don't
Brandon did send me an email with an update for the Fire Tac, but Troy, it looks like he has a question before I read what Brandon sent me.
Oh, I just couldn't hear what the program was called, Sammy.
Pulse Point.
Pulse Point. Got it. Thank you.
Brandon said from the Fire Tac meeting last week, they discussed image trend and a final decision was not made about a regional account with Cowlitz 911 being the host. However, at this point, it does not look like that will occur. Agencies will continue what they're doing or work together on another method with no part taken by Cowlitz 911. And then the fire radio manual edits are almost complete. There's a few points left needing some attention or input from the comm center before being finalized.
Well, thank you.
One concern I know I've heard from a few of the agencies is there's been quite a few of the last meetings. There's been no representation from the comm center. So if there's a question, Jared isn't available and Shelley's nighttime, of course. So I know that's a concern, that a lot of times they have something that needs to be answered. And I believe even the bylaws show that somebody from the comm center is supposed to be in those meetings and probably supposed to be the ones actually taking the notes. So,
Yeah, Jerry already, he's the one trying to be there, but I wasn't sure that we're there. Apologize for that. We'll take care of that. Anything else? Okay.
I had a question, as I went back and looked at the minutes and such, the comment with regard to the procurement of equipment that we approved for up to $1 million at this point. There's a statement in here that talks about Colin Swanson, the representative for Jamie's office.
Yes.
And saying that he's not yet provided any written documentation. Has there been any follow-up to, in fact, look into if we expend monies prior to that it would be reimbursable or not? Do we know where that lies? And if it isn't reimbursable, how does that impact our decision? I mean,
We
I know it's
do,
$1 million.
yeah. Deanna, if you want to address that, I know you've been in touch with their office.
Yeah, he responded back to me after he talked to people in the office and said, don't need procurements with the assumption that there'll be reimbursement. And it kind of sounds like I'm like, is there some written rules somewhere? Is there something that we can look at? And he said he was gonna look for something, he couldn't find it, but he talked to people in the office and said, don't do it, thinking that you're gonna be able to back pay that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question. Because generally, federal programs don't allow you to reimburse yourselves if you've already expended the funds, right?
And I think that's probably the same feedback he received.
And so I don't know what our position is on that, but if we're just kind of holding and waiting, or
We are moving ahead with this $1 million. We do currently between reserve and other funds. We have those monies available now. So we're not spending the grant dollars, and this is equipment that needs to be replaced before we know about the grant money. It won't be you want to talk about that? It won't be the entirety of the $1 million, but we're starting to procure some equipment. We've had 2 sites go down in the last month or so, where we've had to replace some stuff, so we're trying to refurbish the infrastructure prior to more catastrophes of equipment. Dan, do you have anything else to add?
I will at the radio report part if you want.
Okay.
I mean, I understand that, and I understand when we have systems go down, we need to take care of those are paramount, but I think we also need to understand once it's spent.
And just so I'm clear, this 1 million that was approved, we've asked for 2.2 million.
For the grant.
Through Congress, and if we were to get the 2.2, we could still spend that for additional equipment above and beyond the million.
That 2.2 would solely be spent on equipment. Doesn't pay for any of the labor costs or any of that. You can only spend it on equipment. So we definitely can spend that because we have literally a lot of work to do at the sites. We've got rectifiers and batteries and microwaves and
And you know what the status of that? I believe it moved out of the House to the Senate. Is that the budget?
I don't know.
Where that's at. I know we have Senator Cantwell and Murray are on board
Yeah,
on the Senate side, and my understanding, I thought it made it through committee anyway in the House.
I feel like you're
I think
correct.
you're right.
I would have to look back at emails.
Okay, and budget, federal budget, I know they can continue that on, and who knows when that'll be settled. So,
Yeah.
We could, maybe next time we talk, we can find out
Okay.
where we're at on that, so.
I can get a hold of the problem today.
But Brad, the federal budget law says they have to approve the budget by the end of this month.
Do that. Continuing resolutions.
Continuing appropriations, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna shut the government down. Okay,
Thank you.
we were still under the fire tack, anything left for fire? Okay, we'll move along to the director's report.
Thank you very much. So currently for staffing, we have 21 dispatchers, 20 are signed off and working the floor. We have one in training still that we anticipate will be signed off soon. In fact, we do have 3 conditional offers out pending backgrounds and sites, et cetera. So with that, we would have 24. However, we do know that we have 2 retirements between now and April pending, and potentially a 3rd. So gaining 3, but losing 3 in the next 8 months or so. So that's where we're at for staffing. And of course, we have the non-represented staff as well. Climate and culture, our team is struggling a little bit with all of the change. There's been a lot of change, as we all know. They're doing it. They're working through it. They are they're working really hard. They're doing the best with the change, and we're trying to right now not create more change than it's necessary to let everything else settle in. And I think that's helping the overall attitude of, you know, too much change at one time. So we're getting there. As to the building, there has been pretty good progress in the last couple of weeks. We had a meeting yesterday with the contractor and the architect, talking about where we're at with the building and progress that's being made. Patriot, the contractor, realizes that, of course, they're far behind on getting this completed. One of their higher ups, a VP of, I don't know his title, will be on site Monday. And during the meeting, he talked of contacting his human resource department to acquire a couple more folks to help them out here, so that their project manager and superintendent aren't the ones that have to run around and hang doors and worry about our barn doors and doing some of the fixes and things like that. They're trying to get them some additional help to help the project along. So that is moving. If you haven't been there in a while and you would like to go, let us know. We're happy to take you over and show you around. The dispatch center floor, for example, now has the ceiling, the carpet. They were redoing some of the work on the walls with drywall, so it was all painted and done, but now they're doing some touch-ups there. We had Deanna's team from Watson Furniture put in 5 consoles yesterday, and then in the new dispatch floor. The raised floor in the server room is nearing completions, just some border wall work to be done there. So we're seeing good progress. The other rooms, the EOC training room, the offices off the corridor, with the exception of wall plates and whiteboards and some door hardware and things like that, those rooms are pretty much done. Ceilings are in, the carpets are down, baseboards are down, things like that. So we are seeing good progress. If you drive by, you'll notice there's a lot of plants now. Landscapers have been very busy, a lot of rocks, a lot of plants, and their next thing is the path, the walking path, and the stepping stones to finish out the exterior landscaping. So we are still waiting for an issue with the siding. That panel siding has been a problem. The manufacturer has created more of the panels for us, and now we're trying to figure out when those will be on site so they can complete that work. So there is good progress. We've been pushing Patriot pretty hard to stay on top of things and get things done in a timely fashion, and that's working. Deanna's been managing our CRP team, the Calais Relocation Project team. They're responsible for all the technology and things that go in, getting the antennas up on the tower, getting all the servers in, all of the networking and switching and all of the things that have to happen. The team is very, very organized. They're working away. Of course, they can't, they've done as much advanced work really as they can. They just need access to the building. We've been pushing for that. It hasn't gone as quickly as we hoped. So when I came on board in April, as you know, or as you may recall, we had a substantial completion date of June, late June. That didn't happen. We had another substantial completion date in late August. That didn't happen. But at that time, I committed to our team that we would be in there before the end of the year. We would be in there in December, dispatching and doing our thing. Now we have our substantial completion date is October 13th. So the CRP team getting all of their stuff done, that's a very tight time frame for those folks. And quite honestly, I'm pushing them equally as hard as I'm pushing the contractor. And I'm going to continue to push them for December until somebody tells me that it simply can't be done. If it simply can't be done, then we need to adjust and do what we can. But as of today, I haven't heard that it cannot be done. I'm hopeful, but I'm not willing to hang my hat on that particular nail right now. But we'll get there. We will get there. These folks are working away. Deanna's done great work with the CRP team and keeping them engaged and focused and moving forward. They've been on site tearing down some of the stuff to move the 2 consoles that we took from the center yesterday over to the new building. So we're getting there. We'll continue to push forward.
John, a while back, you had mentioned that there was a piece of technology that was being back ordered and was critical to the move. Does that come in or?
Yeah, sort of. Back in June and August, it was critical and we would have had to wait for it if we couldn't find one. But now there's a newer version of that piece of equipment and we have all of the equipment we need now. I think we have everything, right, Deanna?
Yeah, that was radio equipment we were waiting on. We
Yeah.
didn't receive that, so we have it.
So we've gone far enough past our deadlines that we have had no issue acquiring all the equipment that we need.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so
So John, worst case scenario, I mean, do we have provisions in place where we could still operate over at the Hall of Justice? I mean,
Oh,
I
yes.
assume, doesn't our contract expire for the lease in December? And
It-
so
it
would that be a
does,
month to
and-
month? And
Yeah,
we have the equipment such we would be allowed to continue to operate?
we would have had to notify the county by August 31 to extend, and we did not, but knowing that we could go month to month, so.
We're prepared to go month to month. Port of service to keep going.
We just don't know how much they're gonna charge us yet.
Not gonna throw them out or they can.
Oh, we'll just charge you.
Right, that's right, yeah, so they're gonna charge us more money, but they won't lock us out of the building. So, but yes, we'll be okay to continue here if that becomes necessary.
Is there any question for John about the facility?
And then as to radios, I'll turn that over to Deanna.
As you're probably all aware, on the 13th, we had a failure at a primary site, which was Premier. There was some type of a DC surge that blew out the 3 redundant switches on the battery bank, which kept it on battery instead of going to generator. Day Wireless went up there. We had CCSO and fire main back up within about an hour, and then about 9:30 LPD and KPD back up. Probably due to that, Day Wireless wasn't sure. One of the cells in our battery bank is bad. It's about $25,000 to replace that bank. Chris said we probably need to do replacements at multiple sites on those banks because they're anywhere from 15 to 25 years old, 30 years old. That needs to be addressed right away. Some follow-up with Chris. I had a discussion with him about how to monitor things.
Hey, John, they're saying they can't hear Deanna on the Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah, do you want to come up? Yeah.
sorry about that, she's coming up closer.
You don't want me to say so I forgot where I was at. Battery banks. Oh, monitoring the sites. We're going to set up a server up there with a cellular connection to monitor the generator and those battery banks. I'm going to work with Rachel and Chris from Day Wireless, Chris for the scope of work. And then Rachel and I will
determine if we can find any of this on a state contract for the work and for the installation. One, because I don't know that Day really has the capacity at this point with all the other projects that we have working on, and I think this is critical. We need to take care of it right away, so. Sunday, we had an issue with the Kelso GTR radio, which is basically the repeater. I had a report that it was sounding weird, staticky. I sent Day up there. They determined that GTR was going out. So we had, I think we have 8 GTRs at the shop for the Deer Island site. So they took 2 GTRs up and both of them didn't work. Straight out of the box, they're brand new. And they're usually really bulletproof, so we don't really know what the issue was. We'll send them back to Motorola and get those fixed. But the third one was a charm, so your radio should be working well unless, okay, all right,
I didn't know about something.
okay,
So
Sunday, yeah. Woodland site, I've been working with Mary Meeker down in Woodland. I did meet with the property owner at the site by, maybe I don't say about this. I think this was a closed session thing. Anyway, I'm working with Mary Meeker. Okay. I've been setting up appointments with Day Wireless to take Brandon to the sites so that he knows where they're at. And when we have our PMs for HVAC and generators, he'll go to the sites with those vendors so that we have somebody regularly going to the sites and checking the sites out. I am finishing up a contract with Motorola on the Davis lease agreement. And after visiting that site, I'm gonna put some contingencies in that agreement with them for some repairs that I think need to be done there. Deer Island, just waiting on some final feedback from Lisa at WCIA. I got that right. For some insurance language that I was able to get changed. So I just want to make sure it's okay for her with her. And they accepted some of those contingencies on kind of how it was pretty open on, you know, we're 100% responsible for lots of stuff. And I put a cap on it at 3,000 a year on any kind of repairs and things. And I think you looked at that too. Okay, so I think we're good on that. Just waiting for Lisa's feedback. And we should be able to get into that site in October. So the plan there is to put up County Main and Fire Control 1 at those sites to give better coverage for the Kalama, maybe Woodland, maybe Woodland. We're hoping that there'll be better coverage there. Our ECW phone system, the current phone system that we have right now, there's a migration that we can do right now. I talked to the PM for our new project, our new refresh at the new site, and I'm going to get a hold of another project manager that manages these migrations. If we do the upgrade right now, it'll make that final migration easier when we go from live at one center to live at the other center. But there's a substantial downtime up to 6 hours where we wouldn't have 911 lines. So that would take some coordination with Clark County. So we're just kind of trying to manage the resources to figure out which way is the best path to take. We did sign a 4-month maintenance agreement on the current equipment because we'll be transitioning to the new equipment, and we suspect that that will happen, you know, by January. If it doesn't, we can extend that. So I think that's all I have.
did you want to go into executive session about real estate or not?
There's not a lot of change on
Okay,
it, so,
okay, just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
okay.
You mentioned about the backup site being moved over here,
Mhm.
how that project's going.
Sure. Actually, we're a lot further along than we thought. So we have staged the servers up at the backup site. We will be bringing in the ECW redundant part of the we'll install one at Ocean Beach and one at the Hall of Justice. And that install will happen in December. The first week of December is what we're scheduled for. I'm gonna consult with our CRP team, make sure that works. We will decommission all of the equipment that we have, and Kim can have her room. Kim can have her office. And she was involved in the CRP meeting this last week, so I don't know if she briefed you, but there's progress being made. We do have the new servers. We have a VM set up for the Spillman to move it off of the old Spillman server onto the new. Don's just trying to find time in his schedule to coordinate with CVE and get that done. We're working with IT to kind of get him out of the freezing room, because now that we put HVAC in there, it's really cold. And get him situated in that back area as well. And also working with Julie in records to see, you know, kind of what works for them as well. But we've got a lot of stuff set up in
Yeah.
the Hall of Justice.
This was you the other day there, but yeah, the backup site currently is in county IT, and they're gonna be moving back in behind records to the original 911 center. Moving back full circle. to the
Yeah.
Backup site, and have 4 desks in there, 2
Yep.
call taking sites and 2 dispatching sites, which will be the backup.
Yep.
For us. That seems to be working out.
Great, thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay, any questions for John or Deanna on any facilities, radio, anything?
I got one behind it too.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay,
Um,
go ahead.
In regards to the radio and redundancy systems, on the 13th, when there was a failure with the analog system, the digital system was working well. It was actually working so well that we ran a radio up to dispatch. But by the time we got it here, because dispatch could have communicated with District 1, District 5, parts of Longview digitally while the analog system was down. By the time we got it up here, the analog system was coming back up, so it wasn't needed. However, that digital system was secured by the district far before my time with the Port Security Grant. It's there, it's available, and it may be a benefit to the whole county for additional redundancy. So if I could speak with somebody with in regards to maybe transitioning that over to Calix 911 or whatever we could do to add that redundancy to the entire county, I think it could be just worthwhile looking at. It's really good.
Yeah, we could have that conversation. You know, that helps out.
Yeah, well,
Thank you. Look forward to that.
All right, I apologize if I missed it, but I was kind of multitasking my phone, apparently not very well. Baker's Corner or Out West, radio improvements. For example, I was trying to call for a cover unit the other day out there and could not get out on the radio.
where were you at?
Morton Parkway.
Okay.
The other units got out there, they started sending units. Well, theirs were a little bit better portable radios, but not as, still was very scratchy. Difficult to get out on. For some reason, LTAC was a little bit better than LPD main. They could hear me a little bit when I switched to LTAC. And just so you know, we're getting a quote, have all of our portable radios and car radios be checked out again.
Okay,
We'll do some more routine maintenance on all of them.
okay.
Waiting on the quote on that.
So Robert, do you remember if that was before the 13th or after the 13th?
All of these working together.
Okay, if you can,
I think it was before the 13th.
okay, because we don't know when that AC thing happened exactly, and the battery bank is like 48 batteries, I think. And the runtime on it was pretty substantial, so I'm just kind of trying to,
I'll let you know. I'll reach out.
Okay.
I'll go back and
Yeah.
call.
and if there's any other issues out there, just shoot me an email or Jerry or Shelley.
Maybe
And
make some more radio calls.
yeah, I've seen there was one at 54 yesterday from Medic 61. You had a unit this last weekend that had 3 different staticky or unreadables. And so we asked him to go to the shop with his portable because it seemed like he was the only one. And there were other people out there and it wasn't happening. There was another one that I saw. That was,
And at least when the feedback from all the supervisors last Thursday, it's mainly out west. That's what-
okay, all right, perfect. We'll look into it.
Anything else?
I have a couple of questions on on those backup batteries. You said there's several other banks that are end of life or
Other
whatever,
sites.
other sites, yeah. Do we have any others out there that besides those that we need to be looking at or?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I asked Chris to put aside about a half a day where him and I can sit down and meet and kind of go through those things. And I've got old records from '04 and '08 when they built the system. So I'm trying to review those to see if I can get dates on some of this equipment when it was actually installed and how old it really is, because he didn't know. I'll just say that. He didn't know that the age of those, so
Something that we probably should have on a replacement schedule.
absolutely.
And I think you explained to me too on that. Power goes down, it goes, runs off the batteries and the generator kicks in, the generator's charging that. Right?
Correct.
Or the gen.
Well,
that's the generator.
AC charges the battery, and so it keeps it fully charged all the time. So if you're always gonna have to be connected to dirty power there. If for some reason your dirty power isn't able to charge that battery, then your generator won't go on. But what happened with this is it has 3 redundant switches on those batteries. So if one fails, the next switch takes over. Well, it blew out all 3 switches. So then it was just running on that battery and it couldn't kick over to the generator because the switches is what kicks it over there. Had it kicked over to the generator, we just would have been running on generator, and that didn't happen. And PUD was contacted and they're like, we don't really know of an outage, but it could have been a surge. So there's more work to be done there.
Okay. And the other question I had was on the update to the phone system and the migration process and all that. Is that going to be seamless to our citizens out there? I mean, that 6-hour downtime, is
So
that just gonna switch to Clark County and they won't know the difference?
that is the plan. That is how we want it to be. We haven't got into the exact plan of that, and I'm working with 2 project managers. The new system refresh and the old system. So I have them now talking to each other, saying, oh, okay, you guys are getting a new system. So the old system folks say, we'll do this refresh because, or update, we'll just say a software update on your old stuff, and it will make that transition easier. And it depends apparently on which engineer in the group you're talking to. So regardless, there would have to be some downtime. So we got to figure out what that exact downtime is, because if we're trying to staff Ocean Beach and staff the comm center on a go live transition, I don't have any people to send to Clark County to help out on calls that we're transferring to them for 6 hours. So if we do this update ahead of time, and we are currently in our Hall of Justice and say, okay, we're going to be down up to 6 hours while they do this track data conversion. Once that update is done, we can run on different servers, just to simplify it. So when we do the refresh, instead of just having 2 servers like we do today, we'll have 4 servers, and we'll update one, and then that one will take over, and then we'll update the other one, so there won't be any downtime, which I kind of feel like is the best path, because we got to have resources to do all this. So, all right, I'll let you know what we figure out.
Anything else for Deanna? All righty, thanks. Thank you very much. Is there any old business anybody wants to bring forward? All righty, we don't need executive session that I'm aware of. That means we're up to adjournment. So I think we're done. And Rachel will get us the meeting announcement for a month out from here. So.